Hare much, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
raise your hands in the sky and chant from deep within as if you really mean it. Hare Krishna. So nice to chant with everyone. I will now, with your permission, change my seat so that I can see every one of you. Then we will continue and have the third part of the art of a real transformation. So, one moment.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, can I just please ask you to move forward, because if more are coming? Hi. Hare Krishna, we would also like to welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to this great festival seminar, Art of Real Transformation. And now we would just like to ask for a short, if you have seen, we have a very beautiful decoration with butterflies, and we would just like to shortly tell you the meditation behind it. And I will ask Jerica, who made it, with the help of Špela, and she will just introduce us a little bit so we can meditate also on this.
Okay, dear everyone. Yesterday we already started with these symbols a little bit, how this transformation of the heart can happen. And the Maharaj also mentioned the butterflies, how important symbols are in this transformation, or how can be, if we meditate on the transformation, how the butterflies actually come butterfly. We can see how we can purify it with this fire we already also spoke about, from this caterpillar through this buba or cocoon into butterfly. So, but behind all these symbols are hidden a little bit also the meaning, why actually there is 6 butterflies, or there is 16 butterflies, and the last are 32 butterflies. And here are behind the Maharaj 16, and there around the Prabhupada are 32. So do you have any idea why it's can be that? What story can be hidden behind that? Okay, I will give you a hint. We all starts with Krishna and Radharani, right? And when we enter, I don't know if you notice, there are 2 butterflies. One blue and one gold, pearl, white. So, you know, Krishna and Radharani, right? Blue Krishna and the gold Radharani. And when we approach here, well, we are mostly now like Gusenica, caterpillar, right? But here on the first stage, we noticed 6 big butterflies. Any idea what can be these 6? Right, 6 Goswamis. They open us actually a space, or show us the path where we can go, right? And then we come to this middle area where is these cocoons and already some butterflies. 16 is japa, right? And there is 13 cocoons. 13? Any idea? From the alchemy, we also spoke about alchemy. Okay. In these cocoons, we can do actually the transformation with what? With help of a great mercy of Radharani and support, and be in a safe place under the shelter of our gurus and Krishna and Radharani and all Vaishnavas. So we have a safe space to do our transformation. And then hopefully we will become butterfly. So each butterfly is unique, and perhaps you can use it also for your own meditation. It can brings you some message perhaps why do you like specific this butterfly? What tells me? Or why I don't like that color? What does that tell me? Where I am in this transformation. So this is a short meditation with this story, with butterflies and transformation. So I hope that it can give you some help also during this seminar. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for engaging your creativity in Krishna's service. Yes, I told yesterday the devotees when I was in the airplane coming from Berlin to here, I was really thinking I would like to make a difference in your life, something that you will take along with you and that you remember maybe, and when you go back a few years from now to this memory, you think, oh, I really learned something which was useful for my life. Before I start, I want to say I'm very happy to see devotees whom I usually don't see. I have not come here for 3 years, I understand, and I see also some devotees who I know since very long, who somehow or other we have not seen each other so regularly. I welcome all of you. I do hope I can reach you all spiritually and affect and give you something where you feel, oh yes, the relationship works. So many hopes we have for this class and the following class. I realize not all of you will be able to participate, but maybe you will feel inspired to listen to the other sections later. So let us sing a little. That's what we are very good in. Jaya Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivara Hari Jaya Girivara Hari Pidana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Asurana Jaya Braja Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunya Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Madhava Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunya Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunya Vihari Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivesesa Sunyavari Askatyare Satarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. If you wish to transform your life, you need to transform your darshan or vision of life. During the Second World War, something very, very interesting happened on the operation tables that was just too wild or too crazy to be reported to the scientific community. Only about 30 years later, the doctor who experienced this phenomena on his surgery table dared to speak about it. What had happened? One doctor, I remember his name as Bethmann, but I'm not sure if this is correct. One day had to perform about 20 surgeries on people who had very heavy injuries, like losing part of their legs, being shot and losing vital organs. But on the morning, his nurse came to him and said, "Doctor, we have no morphium. It's all out." Those who know about surgery know that the human being can only take a certain amount of pain before the nervous system collapses, and to make a surgery like amputing a leg without heavy anesthesia is impossible and irresponsible, because the patient will not die because he lost half of his leg. He will die because a surgery was performed and he was not anesthetized properly. So Dr. Bethmann said, then we can't do any surgeries if we don't have morphium. The nurse said, we have to do it. We have to save the life of these people. And I have a bad surprise. We are not getting morphium any longer from America because the Germans have cut the supply line. But then what should we do, said Dr. Bethmann. Well, you just inject the patient with water and tell them it's morphium. It will work. I tried it with my children. Wow! This was a bold woman. Dr. Bethmann saw no alternative. I mean, he knew he would lose the life of all these patients, so he got them all together and said, "Dear patients, you are all mortally wounded. I will have to perform surgery on you, and for this I will give you an injection of a high doses of morphium. And morphium switches out the nervous system, and in this way you can survive and tolerate the surgery. So just in case it would be too difficult, he had also some sticks ready. So the first patient went on. He had lost half of his leg. But Dr. Bethmann said, okay, and he gave the injection. You will now fall asleep, you will become a little nausea, and I will do the surgery. Just in case you feel some little pain. Here's a stick, you can bite on it. He performed the surgery. It went all right. The patient still lives and can tell you the story. He performed 20 such surgeries after he had switched the vision. He had done something to the vision of these patients. He had told them, I'm giving you morphium, you will be fully anesthetized. And as they switched this vision, they survived the surgery. My dear devotees, if you want to change your life and your reaction to life, you will have to also switch your vision, change your vision, your darshan. In the Bhagavad Gita, we learn that the living entity is made out of shraddha, a faith, a vision, an understanding. We all live our lives based on our perspective, our shraddha. Some of you live Krishna conscious lives. You are not yet happy and fulfilled, but your perspective is the process will work, and therefore you keep on going through your happiness and distress with that hope in the future everything will be all right. Seeing darshan means usually seeing the deity, standing the day before the deities, but it can also mean an insight or a comprehension, a lens through which you comprehend or understand your environment, and a lens through which you understand the events, the experiences which happen to you. My dear devotees, if you think the world is in a certain way, you are wrong. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. We don't see the world as it is. We see it as we are. In Sanskrit you call this Atmavan Manyate Jagat. According to how you are, that's how you see the Jagat, the universe. And Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, says this world is a place of suffering. Maybe you have heard this. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. But the sadhus tell us, Prabodhanandan Saraswati, Vishvam Purvam Sukhayakte. The whole universe is a place of the greatest happiness. We hear in the scriptures, this body is kleshada, it gives us misery. But we hear also in the Shastra, it's artada, it can give us the greatest benefit. What is it? Is the world a place of misery, or is it a place of the greatest happiness? It's both. If you see the world as a place of misery, good luck, you will see misery everywhere. If you see it as a place of opportunity, of the greatest happiness, I'm happy for you. You will see the world as happiness. If you see this body as kleshada, a thing which gives you only misery, you are right. If you see the world, or if another person sees the body as artada, giving the greatest benefit, he is right. Choose your perspective and you will choose your reality. This sounds very new agey, I know, we are just starting the lecture. Stay with me, don't make an immediate judgment like some of us are very expert in. Just listen, maybe you will learn something. Burijan Prabhu tells me his favorite story. It's about two twins. Twins in Boicho? With the Wojtkis, yes. They were identical twins. They came from the same egg. So one, their father was a drunken criminal. And one twin became a drunken criminal also. He was a messy. He lived only from one bottle of whiskey to the next, and he was prepared to steal. And the other twin was a surgeon, a doctor, who sometimes in his free time went to Africa to give treatment for free. So one journalist interviewed the two twins and said, he said to the first twin, remember that person who was socially not so competent, how did you become like this? And he said, how could I become anything else with a father like this? My father did criminal activities and he was a drunkard. So the same journalist went to the other twin. The twin means that other twin who had become a doctor and who was very charitable. And he asked, how did you become like this, like a doctor like this? And the doctor answered, how could I have become anything else with a father like this? One chose to live his life in one direction because he had a certain perspective. The others thought, I choose to go with another. I interpret my genetic inheritance from another way. I saw how much misery it brings to myself and to others if I'm such a bad drunken person. Let me not do this. Let me learn from it. I become a doctor and help others. They had the same genealogical informations, right? Same. They came from the same father, same mother, same sperm, same DNA code. But they had a different darshan, a different vision. And that made all the difference. While I'm talking, I see some of your darshans going down. You have not enough oxygen. So we must request Madhu Chandra. I know, why not open fully? If you need a jacket, I have. Because it's a little cold just next to it. Prabhu, you look a little tired. Do a little breathing, no? Yes. Your the way you look at the world will change your entire life. And you know, if you want to change, you need to change your vision. I see many followers of spiritual movements. They are so negative towards the world, and then they're often negative towards each other. They see faults everywhere. And there are others who are just have chosen, I do not wish to be negative any longer. I don't like a negative perspective. I'm not interested to hear about the mistakes of others. Only if I absolutely have, then if it's helpful for others. And they live in a different universe, a different movement. For them, the Hare Krishna movement is the greatest opportunity. It's not a perfect movement, but it gives an opportunity. And for others who have a negative perspective, they just are locked in a cage of engaging with the faults of others. But do you know what? Krishna consciousness is not about what someone else does or does not do. It's about what you do in relationship to Krishna. So it's important to have the right vision. And if you meet genuine sadhus and you listen in a receptive mood to their instructions, your vision can easily change. There are different things, different triggers that trigger transformation. You know, in in Bengal, I was once on Mayapur parikrama. I don't know if I should. Anyway, so we walked by a rock candy field, and not rock candy, but is that sugar cane field, and they had just boiled a little bit of the sugar cane, and they had made it not a little bit boiled. They had boiled it so long that it became molasses. You know molasses? Same word. So there was one Mataji. I think she was very hungry that morning. She just went, you know, where the farmers had this what's they're called, like walks, and she was so greedy to have this molasses that she fell in. Fortunately, it was not hot, so she was just very brown and you know, the molasses went like everywhere. It was sticky, and I remember it was just a humorous scene. But on this molasses, you know, with these, when you wait a little bit longer and no Mataji falls into the molasses, then you can put a little rock sugar there, and this rock sugar will trigger a reaction in the molasses, so much so that very quickly the molasses forms into crystals, and you have a lot of rock sugar. It just needs one rock sugar to fall into this liquid, and it crystallizes. I saw this once, and you have a lot of rock sugar. So transformation is also triggered, not by rock sugar, but by something, and it is different from person to person. For instance, someone might get the impetus to change his perspective when he sees an example through the eyes. In the scriptures, Uddhava, the personal friend of Krishna, is such an example. He was a highly intelligent advisor to Krishna, and Krishna wanted him to learn about the secrets of devotional love. So he sent Uddhava to the gopis in Vrindavan with some letter which Krishna had written to them. And when Uddhava saw the incredible devotion of the gopis who were listening to the letter with rapt attention, and who were crying as they listened to Krishna's words, something changed in Uddhava. And he stayed, according to Jiva Goswami, 10 months in Braj to be more with the gopis, and then only returned to Mathura. Another trigger that can trigger an involvement in our trigger our perspective, or change our perspective or our darshan, is when you are involving yourself in devotional service. I remember there was once a chancellor of the Benares Hindu University who came to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur with a very difficult philosophical question. As far as I remember, the question was on the fall of the jiva. It's something which those who are like controversy are also very interested in, because there are various positions to this in this question. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, at the moment I have no time to explain to you, but you know, I know our pujari is in a terrible hurry. He has to polish the Arctic paraphernalia. So you go to him. So the chancellor went to the pujari. What could he do? The pujari said, please, I'm so much in a hurry with this Arctic paraphernalia. Arctic time is coming. Can you just, you know, take some clay and just rub it on the trail and on the lamp and so on. And the chancellor helped the pujari for 2 hours to clean the Arctic paraphernalia. In the evening he came back to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, so now we can discuss. But the chancellor said, my questions are answered. I have done devotional service and now I can see the answer very clearly. Perhaps he had in mind the verse of Rupa Goswami who says, you cannot understand God or the divine reality with this dull mind, nor can you see him with these dull senses. But if you become inclined to devotional service, sevon mukhe, it means literally if you turn your face away from intellectual understanding and towards service to Krishna, then this will be automatically revealed in you. So your darshan, your perspective in the life, can also be changed by involving in devotional service. Your vision, it becomes purified. I know, you know, there is no time in Radhakund where the Radhakund area is more dirty than after the day where most of the people celebrate Bahulas Dami. You know, there are millions of people around the Radhakund, and they shave up and they put their hair there. Some people do their, you know, emergency toilet there, and others they throw milk and coconuts into the kund. It's really very dirty after, let us say, 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. You, with your Slovenian cultural sensitivities, would not be very happy to be at that time at Radhakund. So some devotees, I know their names, they go there and they clean Radhakund after Bahulashtami. They go there, they take all the dirt, the hair, the whatever it is, and they clean it, and because they think now we can do the greatest amount of seva to Radhakund. We do the most needed service, and they involve themselves in this very dirty work. And afterwards, I have seen them. They have reported to me, we are the most blissful people in the universe now. We see things we could not see. Then there is the influence of a sadhu who can change a perspective. Do you know an example from the Shastras? I think Madhuchanda you will know when you think a little. Who was influenced by the influence of a sadhu and changed his vision? Yes, Narada Muni is a very powerful change agent. I'm thinking of, yes, someone said the hunter. Rahugana, King Rahugana, was influenced by Bharata Maharaj. No? Prakashananda just saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked to him like a rising sun, and he became a devotee, from a Mayavadi to a devotee. Just the influence of a sadhu. Or Migrari the hunter met whom? Narada Muni, you know everything, and and gave up his profession as a hunter. He could see, I should not inflict violence any longer on the living entities. No. So, my dear devotees, from all these triggers, seeing an example, becoming involved in service, or just being next to a sadhu, or towards, maybe going to an altar, seeing the deities. I know devotees from Persia who came to the altar of Radha Madan Mohan and changed totally. They were computer programmers, and they became devotees afterwards. From all these, the instructions of a sadhu are especially powerful if they fall on a receptive ear. At that time, the instructions of a sadhu work like sparks of fire that fall on dry wood. Immediately, the dry wood will become firewood and burn. Of course, sometimes people, due to various circumstances, faith issues, disappointments, cannot be so receptive, and then some people will not immediately become devotees like you have become when you read Prabhupada's literature. But they work, the instructions. The instructions of this is because the sadhus are equipped with a particular potency and are therefore considered to be walking holy places. Who of you has gone to the holy dham, to holy places in their life? That's about half of you. And the other half, I think, are thinking of going in the future. Have you all noted when you come to Vrindavan or to Mayapur or Jagannath Puri, very often your perspective changes, you become more blissful, more convinced in Krishna consciousness? Have you Yes? I know Danuda Maharaj's mother. She was very angry at Krishna consciousness on Prabhupada for having stolen her son. So she went to Vrindavan, and I think the first thing which happened to her when she went out of the taxi is she stepped into a pile of liquid cow dung. Some of us would have said Jai, but she was a New York lady. She didn't say Jai. She made a comment which started with S and ended with T. She didn't even say holy. No. So she was from the very moment frustrated for the very moment of her arrival in Vrindavan Dham, frustrated like anything. But after 2 nights or so sleeping, in the morning she came to her son and said, "I hate to admit it, son, But in the morning I was singing this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Because the Dham has this influence on you. It is said it's a tirtha. Tirtha means a crossing place or a juncture. No? Like this, if we would say the thumb is the material energy, yes? And this is the spiritual world. Huh? In the holy Dham, the two come together. And when you are there, here, at this juncture point, yeah, you can cross from the material to the spiritual world. Krishna has created these holy Dhams to help us conditioned souls. There are three kinds of holy Dhams. One is the place, like Vrindavan and so on. The second is, Kesava Maharaj calls it an envisioned place. It's something like when you decide, here where I live, in Banjaluka, in my apartment, I have Vrindavan dust, I worship the deities. This is Vrindavan. And you behave like Vrindavan, you will feel the Vrindavan influence. Envisioned. Or some devotees will say, oh, this is New Vrindavan. No? In America, this is New Vrindavan, and here's Radha-kund, there's Syama-kund, there's Giri Govardhan. Then this place becomes an envisioned holy place, and those who go there, they can make some experience. But the third tirtha is an individual tirtha, or a devotee who carries Krishna in his heart. It is said tirti kuvanti tirtani. Such a devotee who carries Krishna in his heart is a tirtha, and a holy place, a walking holy place if you so want, and he can turn others into holy places. In other words, very simply speaking, some Shakti is invested in him, which makes everyone who comes to him more Krishna conscious, because they come in the close and the spiritual energy. I saw this with my spiritual master. My dear devotees, people who came to Prabhupada, they forgot what they wanted to say. My own father wanted to criticize Prabhupada very much for having taken away two of his sons, but he forgot everything and he felt defeated by Prabhupada because he was such a holy place, Prabhupada, a walking holy place, or an individualized tirtha. No, yes, this is happening. So, what are we talking about? We're talking about that all of us see the world not like it is, but like we are. Or let me talk to you. All of you see Krishna consciousness not like it is, but like you are. Or let me be even more personal. All of you see the movement of Krishna consciousness not like it is, but like you are. I know these are heavy things to digest and swallow, but that's why we like to go to lectures. We want to think about new thoughts, no? And want to see if they are true for us. When you change the way you see things, the things you see change. Once again, when you change the way you see things, the things which you see change. And I would like to talk about this a little bit from the Shastras. See, in the scriptures, we have an example of two, they were not twins, but they were two brothers. I'm taking this also from a lecture of Keshava Maharaj and the Bhagavatam, and it is really nice. Their names were Vidura and Dhritarashtra. It's very interesting how they were born. The king, before them, was not able to conceive children because he had a very, very bad disease and therefore died young. So when the king's mother, the queen mother you call it, I saw that there would be no sons, also no daughters, from her son. She feared that the old dynasty of the Kauravas would be extinguished after some time. That's why kings are very, very eager to have children, because through their children the dynasty continues. So Satyavati, that was the mother of Vichitravirya, King Vichitravirya, who was ill. She said, your wife, Ambika, cannot conceive a child from you. Therefore, let your brother Vyasadeva visit her and lie with her. Not lie, speak a lie, but be next to her for the night. So Ambika was one of three wives of Vichitravirya. Two wives, actually, two wives only. The third ran away, Amba. So Ambika was told, listen, your husband cannot give you a child because of the illness, but you are the queen, and the dynasty needs to go on. We will call the brother of Vichitravirya to bring it. So who was the brother? Vyasadeva. Now when you see Amarachita pictures, the comic pictures of saints, Saint Vyasadeva, he looks very nice. Hair, nice top knot, nice dhoti, maybe some perfume, and so on. But Vyasa was different. He lived in the forest. He had hair which went all over. Yes. His cloth, we don't want to mention it. It was really wild cloth. He was one of those real people, not the you know. When he came into the room of the queen, Ambika looked at him. And Vyasadeva said, my child, this has to be done so that the noble Kaurava dynasty goes on. And Ambika was just so in dread that at the moment of conception, she closed her eyes. And that's how she conceived. And as a result, the child who was born to her carried the effects of this trauma with him. He was blind, and his name was Dhritarashtra. When the queen's mother saw the blind child, she said, Tene ureru. That's not okay. This child is not capable. A blind king we have not heard. Bring this. The second one has to surrender. So Ambalika came, and she had not heard who would come, but when Vyasadev entered the nicely arranged and decorated room for conceiving the next king, Ambalika just went totally white. She was so shocked by the exterior. And when she conceived, the child who came out was totally white. As white as the shirt of Vijay Gauranga's, it was not this white, but this shirt white. It was very white. And he did not look very much like a king. His name was given to him, the Pale One. What is the Sanskrit name? Pandu, correct. So Satyavati said, Tene uredu. That is not okay. We must try a third time. So the first one was called again. What was her name? Ambika. Yes, Ambika. And when she heard she had to surrender another time, she said, Tene uredu. I can't do this. And she called her maidservant. He said, listen, my dear maidservant, you will be the mother of a very, very important child. You have to surrender. And I tell you one thing, don't become shocked. The sage Vyasa comes directly from his austerities. So the maidservant was ready and surrendered. She was very joyful. She gave herself entirely to Vyasadeva, who was very pleased with her and said, I bless you with a very enlightened child. And her son was Vidura. We hear in the scriptures Vidura was an exalted personality. He was Dharmaraj or Yamaraj on holiday. He wanted to, Yamaraj wanted to make a human experience, and he for some time gave up his post in the lower planetary systems and came as Vidura, an enlightened child who lived as a servant of Krishna. Now, I will have to go a little bit faster because I don't want you to miss the main thing why you have come here tonight. For the time being, the blind one, Dhritarashtra, was made the king. But it was understood that when Pandu, the second choice, would be of age, he would become the next king. And this was really done. When Pandu became old enough, he was crowned king, not Dhritarashtra. And Pandu was always very good to his blind brother. He said, brother, don't worry, and he brought him to a chariot where horses are and said, you can drive horses, you can do everything. He encouraged him. He was a loving brother, younger brother. And Dhritarashtra felt so happy with Pandu, and he had no problems with Pandu being the king until Pandu died, and his died. By now Dhritarashtra had 100 sons, led by the evil Duryodhana, and Pandu had 5 sons, the 5 Pandavas, and they returned from the forest to the palace when they came of age to rule. But Dhritarashtra had become so embittered by his disease, by his blindness. He was always the last. He could, when the children were running, he could not run along. They were, when they were throwing papayas, he couldn't really feel the papaya coming, and pong, it dashed on his head. Dhritarashtra realized, because of my blindness, I cannot become the king. Dhritarashtra became a bitter person. And although he should have given the Pandavas the kingdom, or at least some part, Dhritarashtra could not do it. He had such a victim mentality developed in his life. He had become so bitter that he cheated the Pandavas. He became actually the enemy of the sons of his brother, whom he had loved so dearly, but who had died. He actually, when they were young, the 5 Pandavas, he was part of a plan to burn them in a house of Shelak, a palace of Shelak. When they were late youth and they needed to rule something, he was part of the plan to give them a desert where nothing grew. And finally, when they were married, Dhritarashtra was so bitter that he took part in a conspiracy that is a gambling match with loaded dice, and at the end, when Yudhishthira and the Pandavas had lost everything, he agreed that they were sent for 13 long years into exile. Dhritarashtra was cooking. He was bitter. He was in a victim consciousness. And he was always on the side of Duryodhana. Remember, his eldest son Duryodhana was so bad. When he was born, the planets went out of orbit. The jackals began to scream. And when the child came out of the womb, this Duryodhana, this was his sound. Ah! He was a demon. Kali had totally entered Duryodhana. He was from the very beginning, Duryodhana, influencing Dhritarashtra. My dear Dhritarashtra, my dear father, give nothing to the Pandavas, give everything to me. Vidura protected the Pandavas. He felt like a mother bird who protects the small, helpless children with her wings. And it was Vidura who warned them, you are now in this palace of Chelak, but fire will be put there. Go and leave this palace at once. Vidura was always at the side of the Pandavas, and he did not agree with the gambling match with loaded or cheating dice. He did also not agree that they would be sent in exile, because he knew it was adharma. And he went to his brother Dhritarashtra many times and directly and discreetly advised them, don't go with Duryodhana. He is a demon. Get rid of him. Don't follow his advice. Don't go against the Pandavas, because the Pandavas are protected by Krishna and by Dharma. when Duryodhana heard that Vidura had discreetly advised his brother Dhritarashtra to not to get him out of the palace and out of the position of power, Duryodhana the next morning lashed out to Vidura. He said, Vidura, you are always our enemy. You are the son of a kept maidservant. We are tolerating you. You are not born from any queen. You are born from a lusty little toilet cleaner lady. You have no right to be in this palace, but you are made the prime minister because we were kind to you, but now you bite the hand that feeds you. When Vidura heard this, he didn't enter the victim consciousness. He was not in this perspective. He smiled. He could understand that it was really not Duryodhana who had attacked him. It was Krishna who had facilitated him to make a change in his life and leave the compromised position of being a minister to a government that was totally corrupt. The government of Dhritarashtra and his 100 evil sons. So he took his bow and placed it at the door of the palace. It means, here, I have served you with my bow, with my abilities, but now I leave this. And he fearlessly left the palace to move with the higher plan of Krishna, who wanted him to not be part any longer of the constant offenses against the Pandavas. Everything happened like it is meant to happen. One night before the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna went. It was not one night, it was like 10 days before the battle of Kurukshetra. Krishna went to Dhritarashtra. He said, Dhritarashtra, your dynasty will meet on the battlefield. There will be so much bloodshed. And you can avoid it this moment. You just have to say one sentence. Duryodhana, get out. Dhritarashtra, when he heard the voice of Krishna, he said, oh Vasudeva. Vasudeva is another name of Krishna. Oh Vasudeva, all my life I am in darkness. You know, he was blind. But when you speak to me, it is like a flash in the darkness, and I can see. But the moment you leave me again, everything becomes dark. Everything is dark. I think we all have a little of Dhritarashtra in us. Do you know what Dhritarashtra means, the Sanskrit word? I've written it down. Dhrita means to hold on, and Rashtra means land. I know only a few of you have land to hold on. I have personally no land to hold on. But, you know, to hold on, not just land, but maybe it's your dhoti you hold on. Or your instrument, or your car, or your plans. Most of us are very expert in holding on in our perspective and our plans. And sometimes we hear something that is better than holding on. And it makes sense. And we are enlightened. Wow! For the moment the darkness leaves us, but when the instructions stop, when the environment is different, when we are back into our own environment, which we have created, our own little karma prisons. Not everything is a karma prison. Our own environment. Let's not. I take this karma prison away. Then, my dear devotees, when we are for a moment seeing this, we return. How often have you heard how devotees say, "Oh, it was so nice at the festival. It was so nice at the japa retreat. It was so nice at the seminar." And then they say, "But after 5 days, everything is again the same." You have heard devotees speak like this to you? Have you heard your own self speak like this to you? Yes. Yes. Because we can't yet hold on to the instructions, because the old darshan, the old insight, the old things are just so compelling that we cannot let them go. Unless you change your darshan, the way you see your life, you will not be able to transform anything much. The art of transformation means to change one's vision. When you have a different vision, life is different, but not after something happens and you have the vision and you look back and then you see it different. No, my dear devotees, it's magical. When you change your vision, you do not experience the same things as you were accustomed to appear. In other words, things change and different things happen to you. This is the wonderful thing. I want to repeat this sentence to you. When you change the way you see things, the things you see change. Total different life. You will say Vishwam Purvam Sukhayate. The universe is a place of happiness, like Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. I want to end here with a verse from a person who was able to change his vision. It's the Avanti Brahmana. I think you know he was a miserly person. He had wealth, but he didn't spend it for his family. And gradually, the government, thieves, and other things took all his wealth away from him, so that the Avanti Brahmana, this Brahmana, had to become a beggar. But people remembered how, when they had asked him for help, the Avanti Brahmana had just cruelly closed his doors in their face. He had not given them anything, and they were very angry at him. People didn't give him any food. People made fun of him. I remember things like reading, like, what was it? He had bagged a whole bagging bowl full of food, and he was so hungry. But then when he was just going to eat it, people urinated on his food, so that it was not fit for consummation any longer. He was hit, his danda was stolen away from him. He became an outcast of society and the object of violence, of bad words, and so on. He really got the sauce. So one day, he suffered terribly. He became very ill and one day he had an insight and he sang about this. Can I sing you one verse of what he sung? Little higher is better, isn't it? Dvija uvacha Nayam jano me sukha dukkha gahetur nadevatatma grahakama kala manaparam karanam amananti samsara chakram parivatayat yat. So he was thinking about his misery, and he somehow his vision changed. He was no longer the victim. He said, these people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. These demigods up there are not the cause of my happiness and distress. My own body, my planets, my past karma or kala, time, is not the cause of my happiness and distress. Rather, it is the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. It's the mind and the vision which you develop that keeps you in one perspective, where the mind becomes both the jailer, jailer is someone who throws someone in jail, and the prisoner at the same time. The mind throws you into the life, and it is receiving the suffering at the same time. So this is what the Brahmanas sang. If you want to read this in your own reading time, because this is fundamental, it's 11, Srimad Bhagavatam 11:23-42. It's something which is really needs to be contemplated about it. Not these people out there are the cause of my happiness and distress. Not the devatas, not the body, not the planets, not the karma, not time. Rather, it is my mind alone that causes happiness and distress and causes the rotation in material life. So Dhritarashtra could not see this. He saw it's the Pandavas, especially this Bhima. You know, when he received the news that all his 100 sons had been killed by one person alone, the mighty armed Bhima, he was full of hatred. His victim mentality exploded. Oh no. And you know, yeah, he was very disturbed. I don't know if some of you are parents. Just imagine you have sons and it was one person alone who killed them all. How do you feel towards that person? You feel the worstest emotions you can imagine. Can you imagine this? Some of you are parents. Can you imagine when there is one person where it's sure he has killed all your children? How do you feel against him? Dhritarashtra said, now where the battle is over and the Pandavas have won, I want to embrace them. Come here, Yudhishthira. And he embraced Yudhishthira. Come here, Bhima. Krishna said, no. And he said, pss, 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 pss. So Bhima quickly ran into the gym of Duryodhana, where Duryodhana had practiced every day with a club on an iron statue that looked exactly like Bhima. How to hit him and murder him. So Bhima just carried this iron statue of himself, and he brought this before Bhima and said sweet words. I'm so happy that you will forgive me. And Dhritarashtra, like a lion, screamed, "Ah!" And he put his arms around the iron statue, and he pressed it and pressed it. He was very strong, like a few elephants. His arms became full of blood. His chest became full of blood. He screamed like an animal. He cried. His strength was so great that he broke the iron statue of Bhima. That was how strong his hatred was. And then he broke down. Gandhari said, "It's all right." Gandhari, his wife. And Bhima said, "Please forgive me at another time." "You're not dead?" "No, uncle, I'm not dead." So here we have two people. Even after the battle, Dhritarashtra is bitter. He is in a victim mentality. We sometimes stay in a victim mentality. This happened to me when I was a child. This happened to me in the school. This teacher told me I'm not intelligent for anything else than something. He told me something. Or you carry the mentality in a movement. "Oh, this happened in my pastime. These and so on." Yes, the teacher did wrong. Yes, the people did wrong. No question. But it's not the goal of life to live with grudges and remember all the terrible things that happened to you. It's the goal of life to live in happiness, to live in Krishna consciousness. And here's the other example, Vidura. Vidura could have broken down when Duryodhana chased him out of the palace, but he chose another perspective. It's all Krishna's arrangement through Duryodhana, and he put his bow on it and went on pilgrimage. And my dear devotees, I will end here now, although now comes the best part. Tomorrow morning we will hear how Vidura comes back after the pilgrimage to his bitter, sad, angry, frustrated brother, and actually changes Dhritarashtra's vision and life, so that even Dhritarashtra became Narottama, the best of human beings. This is a true story of transformation, which you will hear tomorrow. For now, I just wanted to say one thing, is if you want to transform your life, you need to transform your what? Vision. You know already everything. Your vision. And this can happen in various ways. You can see an example, something that makes you totally, that changes you totally. I like to see it's people, an example of something that happens. I know when in our little ashram, the Ukraine wars, we heard of the Ukraine war, I was sad, I was powerless, I was disempowered, because I thought, is it possible that human beings still have not learned from World War I, World War II, is it possible that they try to find solutions by violence? And I was so happy, not happy, disempowered. For 2 days I was just totally disturbed, because I'm a child of war. You know, my father is a warlord. He's still alive, and he was a warlord in Hitler's army. I heard about all these things. I know what it is. Then I said, I don't want to be in this vision. We sometimes allow ourselves to come in the victim vision, like I did, in order to justify our laziness to help. What I did is I just started to collect money. My nephew went to the border and brought refugees out with a big bus. Now, yes, I have a nephew called Madhusudan, also a devotee, and so on. And we did many things. Global puja for the Ukraine, where even Deepak Chopra spoke, and famous people spoke, and we raised Lakshmi and sent it there. We did not agree to stay in the helpless victim vision. We wanted to change things. Yes, this is what I have today. It's really a cliffhanger, only a preparation to what happens tomorrow. I will quote a few verses from the Bhagavatam to give substance to what you hear. And I think it will be very, very useful when you hear what happened to Dhritarashtra and how he changed. Hare Krishna. So I wish to see if you have anything to ask, or you would like to. Yes. Vaikuntha Murti? No. Prema Murti. We have a microphone for you. Then it's easy for everyone to come. Prema Murti, yes, of course. Now I know. Sometimes old age comes, foggy brain.
No problem.
More yoga must be done.
Thank you for a wonderful lecture, very inspiring. Practical question, Maharaj. When we are in association of holy people, and when we see that our situation in life is maybe pulling us down because of the way how it's being done, and we see that we need to change the situation, but you are saying to change the vision of the situation. So can you please just maybe explain today, or if it will be a topic for the next day, what about changing the situation itself, like to moving, like from the situation that is pulling us down? And
please listen carefully. I could now say what most lecturers will say. Yes, the situation must be changed. And I will say it in the end. Don't worry, you will get your sweet. But I would like to educate you today. Those who think that changing the situation will improve my life are called materialists. The spiritualists say, don't believe in this. Look at our civilization, how much they have changed the situation, how much material advancement has been made, how much money has been made, how much fame has been made, how much influence has been exerted. Are the people necessarily better? I spoke in Hollywood to one Hollywood actor who's really, it's a Mataji. She came to talk with Radhanath Maharaj, and I was invited. Very, very famous person. I should not say in public because they need some privacy, these people. But really, if I would tell you, Netflix lookers have seen her every evening. It's so famous, this lady. Really famous. And she said to me, you know, we actors in Hollywood live a different life than the ordinary people. We have different outlook towards sexuality. We have different outlook towards money because we have so much. We have different outlooks what we do in our life. We are on a different planet because we are worshipped by everyone and we can have anything our mind wants. But I'm telling you that the romantic love is so small, whereas love and bhakti is so vast. I'm telling you from my experience, I tried to change my circumstances when I was a young actress and came up. I bought everything I wanted to have, houses, cars, everything. I even bought people. But now I understand, only when I change my consciousness can the pain or the hunger in my heart stop. This is not exactly your situation, your question, Premamurti. I think you don't have any doubt in this. You also feel like this. You asked more about changing a situation which is impossible to tolerate. I think it is Krishna's sign very often when a situation becomes difficult that you should move on. Krishna speaks through signs to us. We call this in, C.G. Jung would call it synchronicities, no? Something which goes on here, which you cannot see, some solution, something, it is given from the outside. It's very often the Lord moves. Maya Dyakshena, the material energy, is under his control. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. So you need to find out when is it a sign of Krishna or a sign of life that you need to change the situation, and when it's the situation that you should be a little bit more determined and so on. This question you need to solve. Don't think when things get difficult, then it's out. You know that you should not do it. Very often, when we go through difficulties, we grow. Who of you has gone for book distribution? Distributing books? Krishna Laya, you also? Little. You know, go Madhu Chanda, you have also gone? Oh, actually for a long time. 6-7 years, and you were stationed in Belgrade, I believe. Skopje, Belgrade, everywhere. Mumbai, New York. You know, when you go out with the book, a spiritual book, and you meet people, and they can be so impolite. And then but those of us who have stayed and gone through the service know this is how I learned to overcome difficulties. You know, I had to. Many times when we are thrown into a difficult situation and we go through them, we grow. But many times also, when things turn sour, it could mean, okay, this is the end. Beautiful friend, the end. That is, and we often stay too long because we are holding on to rush to land or to a situation. So you need to. That's why these two things are there. You need to find out when it's what side. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Premamurti. Yes, Hare Krishna. You are the wife of the Madanga player, no? Raj Kishore, your good name again? Manjari, I remember. Yes, Manjari, please.
I have one question. I'm just like studying a lot about it also. You were talking about victim position. And I think that the main problem is to see that I'm in victim position, because when I'm a victim, I always have, my mind is always giving me a lot of arguments why it's good for me. And I wanted to ask you, maybe you have some tips how to recognize it, how to, because to go out of it is not so hard, but to recognize
that again you have this really victim darshan. Yeah.
How to
the
find
life, COVID, benzene prices, water prices, what are they doing, the politicians? And problem in the temple, and you know, and you go on and on and on and on, and you can't get out of, you can't find some strong vision in your life. Manji, I have only one thing. I talk now very personal. When I know for too many days I'm feeling miserable, I know there's something wrong. Because it's not normal to feel miserable all the time, you know. Everything changes, also misery, normally in this dualistic world. So if I see this, then I think, okay, now let me find out where is the problem. It could be many things. It could be just that I don't sleep any longer because I'm so enthusiastic. I need to sleep. It could be that I have a quarrel with someone who's very important in my life. It could be that I have neglected reading and what is important for me, reflecting about it deeply. It could be also that there were too many bad emails on my email thing, you know, computer. And I take them too hard. It could be many things, so I need to find that out. And then you find out what it is. When you are too long miserable, there is something wrong. And you should now find out what it is and then clarify it. No one of us should accept a life of misery. It's not made for Krishna's devotees. You know, Krishna is the friend of the devotees. He is like a father. He understands our problems and he wants to help. But sometimes we just get stuck in a situation and we call this, we get under the clouds, you know, we can't see the sun any longer. It's there, but above the clouds. Krishna is there, but somewhere else where you may be looking. That's the only thing I can say. I'm not so... I mean, there are many people now who could tell you a victim consciousness means this. They would say, now, okay, I read all these psychology books when I was young and interested in this. They would say, the moment you think others are responsible for your unhappiness, it could be that you are in a victim consciousness. Sometimes bad things happen and others, and it gets too close. But yes, I agree. I know, no problem with this. But we are talking of changing the vision now. Good. So I'm looking at we still have little time for one last question. Migenda? There is a question. Who? Purnamasi. Hare Krishna Purnamasi. Purnamasi was in Jamashtami in Golokadam.
Yes.
Oh, that Jamashtami, my dear devotees. 2 days before Janmashtami, Krishna was dressed like a bee with wings, because he wanted to fly in the hearts of his devotees and relish the nectar of bhakti. I mean, Krishna, Madan Mohan, he's also on your altar. We see Radha Madan Mohan also, the left, yeah. Purnamasi was there. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Many times I think about a sentence which you said in one lecture. You spoke about chanting and how you, when you chant, and then you say to your mind, my dear mind, if you don't listen, these rounds now, we will chant together 4 more. And I think, where do you, if you can say how to get the strength, because many times or most of the time I'm happy. Oh, the mind, we chanted our rounds, so we are finished for today. So to be on this side, you know, that you are strong enough to say, yeah,
Hare Krishna.
take care.
You know, Purnamasi, that's not my only tip to chant better. I may have said this in certain situations, and yes, I do many things, you know, but I don't want that this becomes a new technique, you know. That when you chant bad, you threaten your mind. Wait a minute, you have to chant 4 extra rounds because usually that's bad pedagogic. You know, when you tell a child, okay, you misbehaved, now you need to chant 1 extra round and not come for breakfast. What will the child's attitude towards chanting be? He will think chanting is a punishment. It's not nice. I think, I know in some gurukulas, that's how we talk to our children when they misbehaved, which children do if they are normal children. Then we said, stay back after class and chant 1 extra round. And the children began to hate the japa. So maybe in one case we can sometimes, you know, but I think your question was deeper. You wanted to know, how do you develop the strength to tell your mind what to do and what not to do? Purnamasi. I don't think we have the strength to conquer the mind. Haridas Thakur is quoted in the Harinam Chintamani that no one can control the restless mind on its own. The mind is just too powerful. The mind, by the way, is part of this material energy. It's a powerful, you know, it can tune up the intensity unlimitedly, you know, because it's connected to some great source of energy. The only one who can really conquer the mind is the one same who can conquer the material energy. That's Krishna. So Haridas Thakur says, on my own, I cannot conquer the restless mind. Such a defeat of the mind is only possible by your costless mercy. So when things go bad in chanting, I always, when I notice it, sometimes I just come into the dull mood, but when I notice it, I pray to Krishna, please Krishna, I'm trying, but I'm failing repeatedly. Please help me. Please you take the mind. I learned this from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song Gopinath. You know, there are 3 songs in one. You know, part 1, Gopinath part 1, 2, 3. Please find out. Actually, I have the songbook here. I can sing this to you. I will promise to sing nicely. Not bad. There is a beautiful song where this is explained. The solution to the mind is given. I will. Sri Hare Krishna. Oh, Gauranga Nityananda. Sri Hare Krishna. Sri Krishna. Here it is. Page 134. Can't remember anything. What was it? 130. 134. Yes. Here. Gopinath Haraye menecciami Aneka jatana Oilo vifala Ekono bharasatumi. O Gopinath, I have accepted defeat. No, I'm defeated. I'm finished. I'm broken. All my careful endeavors have proven futile. Now you are my only hope. O Gopinath, how will my salvation be achieved? My powerful senses have brought my mind under their control and do not relinquish their addiction to worldly enjoyments. O Gopinath, O Gopinath, reside in my heart and restrain my mind, diverting it towards you. Thus you will end my terrible danger. O Gopinath, you please capture my mind. I have no means of my deliverance. Only if you come, then there is hope for me. Otherwise, there is simply no hope for me. So this is when I see that my mind is just uncooperative to the extreme. Then I pray. But sometimes when I'm joking with my mind, we are both from North Germany in this life. but that's not the general technique. Good. I want to end here. I thank all of you very much. Should we just sing for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, but not much more? Should we? Just to end. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Masi Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. One more time please. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Thank you very, very much. So tomorrow, same place. I think 7 Manditangi, you know the times better than me. I think it's around 7:30 to 7:45. Of course, if you want to come earlier, that's even better.
I just have a few small announcements.
Yes.
First, thank you very much for this wonderful presentation.
Tomorrow is better. We are going really systematically. Yes.
Yeah, we are really looking forward. Devotees have kindly prepared some evening snack also today, and you're all kindly invited to take it. It will be served downstairs, but you can also honor the prasadam in the tent. In the tent it is served? Ne, to ni za nas. And we have also a kind request for all devotees who are daily visiting the seminars and who are not sleeping in the temple. This year we have not made a fixed fee request for the festival donation for the costs, but we'll be very thankful if you can and wish to donate something in the wonderful donation box Amanda has made, and we have put it there on the table next to the door. So we invite you according to your desire and capacity. Thank you. So tomorrow Harinam we announced, but I think that the weather will be very bad, rainy. So in this case the Harinam will be cancelled or postponed to some other time, maybe in the afternoon, but we will see how it will be. And I have an announcement for disciples of Sacinandana Swami. Many were already asking me and others if we will have a disciple meeting with Guru Maharaj. Yes, we will have it. We will have a disciple meeting tomorrow, probably around 11. But we will give an exact time and a place tomorrow morning after the lecture. So this is regarding this. Yes. These are all the announcements. I wish you a nice rest. I hope you have all found a nice place to sleep. I know it is quite crowded in the temple, but it will be nice to tolerate with such beautiful association. So, and now we kindly invite you for prasadam. And see you tomorrow morning. Hare Krishna. Sorry, we have another announcement from Vrindavan Radha. Just a second.
Yeah. Anuradha. Vrinda Anuradha.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Tomorrow is the Vyas Puja of His Holiness Bhakti-joga Swami. So for those who wish to commemorate him, I'll be here in the temple, and then we will do a little kirtan and talk about him from 11 until lunch, or for those who wish to stay longer, like whenever time I have the day off. So please come, and I think Guru Maharaj too would really love to commemorate him. Hare Krishna.
So begin now. Come.
Lahko prosim vrnete slušalke vsi, ki ste potrebovali prevod. Slušalke od prevoda, hvala.